Thank you so much, Dr. Colon. Oh my gosh, are we seeing the networking alive and happening? It's real, people. And her name is Dr. Colon. And now I'd like to take us right into our first plenary session titled Advancing Latina Innovation, from Tech Consumers to Tech Entrepreneurs, Identifying Current and Disruptive Models. The panel will present an overarching discussion on the barriers, opportunities, and disruptive models needed to move Latinas forward in the technology and innovation sectors. The panel will end with a 10-minute Q&A with all of you, so start thinking about those burning questions, and will be moderated by Andrea Gueldenman. Andrea Gueldenman is currently at work in the production of Be Visible, a series of events that will take place in Denver, Albuquerque, San Antonio, Texas, and Phoenix, Arizona. In partnership with other progressive organizations, Be Visible will examine and celebrate how Latinas in the US can move from being followers of innovation to being the creators of innovation, and particularly innovation with a social purpose. In addition to producing entrepreneurial events, Andrea teaches corporations at CU Boulder Law School and is leading the creation of the new Impact Investing and Social Entrepreneurship Center with Silicon Flatirons, the most important center of entrepreneurship at CU Boulder. Andrea is an advisor for the National Center for Women in Information Technology and is the faculty chair for the social entrepreneurship track of the New Venture Challenge organized by CU Boulder to foster entrepreneurship across the campus. Andrea also sits on several committees across the university on issues of entrepreneurship and social innovation. Andrea and distinguished panelists, I invite you to the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this wonderful introduction, and I don't know if, anyway, sounds great. Muchas gracias primero que nada to Angelica here. I am deeply honored to have been invited by Dr. Angelica Perez-Litwin to moderate this important discussion. I want to commend Angelica's work. She is a crusader, really, and a very generous and gentle one. I mean, you heard her, how generous she is. And talk about thinking big. She's really leading by example. She has been able to gather in this room the most important thought leaders in the issues of US Latinas and technology today. What we will be discussing today in this panel with this amazing panelists are some of the key issues to help Latinas break into, and I want to use this word, break into the innovation economy. How can we encourage Latinas to study careers in math and engineering, to start tech startups, and to consider tech careers and harness their amazing potential? This is a great start, what we're going to start right now on this important national debate. So thank you for the opportunity, Angelica. I would like to introduce our panelists. First of all, let me start with by Ileana Rivera, because I have them like this, so it's not by, sorry. She is recently, as of last week, was named the Global Senior Director for IT at Cisco. Ooh. She is, bravo. She's in charge of 60,000 employees.
Well,
okay.
Users.
She's in charge of, for the areas of experience for users globally in the area of mobility, desktop, apps, cloud, and productivity. She holds an engineering degree from the University of Puerto Rico and a master's degree in information systems from the University of San Francisco, California. She is also a member of the Hispanic IT Executive Council and one of the top 100 most influential Hispanics in IT. So welcome, Ileana.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce next to Sylvia Flores. Sylvia Flores is the co-founder and the Chief Operating Officer, or COO, of Manos Accelerator, the first Hispanic-focused accelerator in the US. She has a huge amazing career, but I'm just going to give some of the highlights of her career because it's been extremely long and successful. In 2003, she worked with former President of Mexico, Vicente Fox, to establish a technology incubator for Mexican entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. She has served as the regional national vice president for the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And she has been awarded Entrepreneur of the Year in 2003 for Latino Style magazine. She earned her chemical degree from San Jose State University. Viva San Jose! Another amazing trailblazer here, Sylvia Vasquez-Lavado, is the principal of enterprise business intelligence for eBay. She has been recognized as a global technology innovator and leader and is sought after for business intelligence and global SAP. But apart from that, she has a whole parallel career as a humanitarian and social entrepreneur. She recently launched Courageous Girls to heal and empower sexually abused girls. And she's going to take them on a trip to the Everest in March 2015. Mm-hmm. She's originally from Lima, Peru. She holds a BA in accounting from Millersville University of Pennsylvania, and she received a Fulbright scholarship. She's also an avid mountaineer, and she has climbed 7 summits, something like. I cannot even explain it. Yeah. Okay, Luz Rivas. Luz is the founder of DYU Girls, and DYU Girls is a nationally recognized non-for-profit organization that helps girls acquire STEM style skills. She started her career as an electric engineer at Motorola, and after several years of working in technology, she transitioned to STEM education. And we're very lucky that she did that because she's made a huge impact. So Luz has a bachelor's degree in science in electrical engineering from MIT and an education degree from Harvard Graduate School of Education. So,
wow. Yes. Ooh. Yeah.
As you can see, a level. I miss my fellow country girl, so that's horrible. Sorry. Laura Chicurel is originally from Chile. We just became friends, so it's like, Laura, she's there. She's an entrepreneur, and she founded Chicurel UK, which she presented BBC Dragons Den, Shark Tank of the UK, and won the Cartier Women's Initiative Award for Europe in 2008. She currently lives in the Bay Area, and she's the founder of Women's Startup, a community for women founders in technology. And also, she is at work on Ugreat, which is a mobile technology platform for social connections. So we have representatives from all areas of the innovation economy here. Sorry about that. So, hello. So we're gonna, I guess, cover 4 important things in this discussion, from technical skills to work in corporate America to leadership networks, and finally an open discussion. So, on the issue of technical skills, my first question is for you, Luz. What would you say are the key elements to help Latinas acquire technical skills during grade school, middle school, and beyond? And what messages resonate from the work you do? And how important are families and role models?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to start early. The programs that my organization runs start with 5th grade girls. So that's about 10 years old. So far, all of the girls that have participated in our programs are Latina, and they live in communities where the majority of people are Latinos too. So we're all in a Latino community. Most of the girls' parents are immigrants from either Mexico or Central America. And so far, what we have found that has really resonated with the girls and with their families is they're making real products. So everything that they make in DIY Girls is something that they can take home and their little brothers and sisters can play with. So they've designed and made their own toys using a 3D printer. They've done a lot of electronics projects. And so they take it home, and it's actually something that people value, right? It doesn't look like this typical school project. And it's using technology, and it's obvious that they needed a technical skill to build that product. And what we have found from the parents is that they can't believe that their daughters made this, and they're very proud of them. And that gives the girls more confidence that early on. So they're 10 years old, they're being praised by their families and their friends and the teachers. And I think that really motivates the girls to want to continue learning more. And then from there, I think as they transition to middle school, it's based, on their interest. That they've developed these skills in elementary, and then they continue to be interested in middle school. And that's what we're working on right now. Currently, we work with 5th to 9th grade girls. And our goal for the middle school years, like you mentioned, what should we do in grade school? I think grade school is about just getting them interested and engaged and providing the space and the time for them to do this. And I think middle school is the hard part, is keeping them interested, right? Because that's when girls start to develop and they're changing and influenced by more people outside of the family. And that's what my organization is working on providing role models and mentors to keep that interest in technology.
That's very interesting. And Ileana, you share with me a story that I would love you to share with the whole room of how you became interested in technology. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I have to correct a little thing. So I do not have 60,000 employees.
Oh, okay.
If not, then I don't know that I will be smiling today. I have 60,000 users.
Okay.
So all of Cisco's employees are actually my users in this new role. But I will have 60,000 employees one day. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was telling Andrea that I studied engineer, and I think when I was going to school, I don't think that I was that interested in math. But my mom only finished 5th grade in Puerto Rico, and I'm born and raised in Puerto Rico. My dad never finished high school. But while my dad was being an electrician, he needed to pass a certification. In order for him to pass a certification, he needed to have a high school diploma. And so he asked for my help to help him on math. And so my big macho dad from Puerto Rico asking his high schooler to help him on fractions and to how to do math. And up to this day, math and fractions are my favorite subject in the entire world. So I can see a pie and I will tell you exactly how fraction works. So I think that's what Angelica was saying this morning, Latinas Think Big. You don't have to see it to believe it. You don't have to see it to be it. You just have to imagine it. You just have to dream it. You just have to have it inside of you. And let me tell you, we all go far, very far.
That's great. Now, moving from childhood to once you're in corporate America, what is the key to help Latinas, first of all, get a job in a tech company? And what is holding Latinas back from applying for, it's great that we're at Google discussing this, but what is holding them back from applying to these jobs? Is the lack of technical skills, or are there bigger factors, or are they scared of something? What is your opinion about this?
So my first piece is for anybody who wants to apply, you just apply for them. You can reach out to me. I'm here all day, so please come in. My LinkedIn is pretty open as well. I'm huge about when people are interested, just reach out, and internally, I'll try connecting you as much as I can. I think we need to demystify a fear. I think we have a self-imposed fear that, wow, in order to get a job in technology, maybe I need to be an engineer, maybe I need to be having a particular set of skills, and we sometimes self-limit ourselves. Like in my own case, I'm not an engineer. I have engineers that work for me. I mean, and I even started with, I came here with a scholarship. So when I finished my degree here, I was still as an international student with a 1-year visa, and I desperately wanted to stay in this country legally. So I looked for a job at a company that wasn't a tech company that was willing to give me that, H-1B and the potential of getting a green card. But even I remember about 3 or 4 years within my role after college, I wanted to work in technology. So I worked hard. I got specialized in certain areas that facilitated a transition in it. And the other piece too, within the corporate world, you just don't need to have an engineering degree per se. We have, as corporations, there's just so many different areas that, you can start working. There's marketing, there's HR. There's just a variety of different components that can ultimately let you, if you want to get more involved in technology, you can actually explore that part of it. So a lot of it is kind of demystifying what we think you need to have as skills in order to be in a tech company. And even once you are in in my case with eBay, we are almost like a mini university. Once you're there, there's just so many classes that you can keep taking. There's just so much training classes, training courses that you can do that can beef up certain areas that, you might want to, kind of pursue that can lead you into more of a technical role. I've been with eBay for about 8 years. My first year I was in San Jose, and then I went about 4 years abroad. So I was working in Europe. And when I moved back, I was really taken about the explosion on the mobile side. And so many people that got involved in mobility as well. This is a new technology that even wasn't around, so many years ago. But, people are able to develop the skills within the job. So the piece is actually just getting over that mental block. Everybody here is definitely, qualified to get there. And, don't think that you need to have this particular background. Just give it a shot. And reach out to us. We are the mentors here. We're here to, to serve you. It's like you guys are the next generation for me, and I get excited about it. So
that's great. And Laura, tell us your experience about in entrepreneurship. You also have been in tech entrepreneur without having a technology background. So is it possible to create a tech startup without a technology background? And is it possible to fundraise for a technology startup without a technology background?
Yeah, actually, I agree with you in the sense of demystifying the sense that you really need to have, for example, the technology background to really work in a company in the technology field. These days, what I've noticed, for example, I was an entrepreneur in Europe in a completely different industry. And when we moved here, and I decided to start a company in technology, and it was starting from scratch. So it wasn't just having the experience in the field, it was building the ecosystem around it and getting in the network to really make it work. And what really surprised me, actually I came here in 2009, is that first of all, the amount of information that is out there, the resources available. Now for women, I've seen an explosion in the last 2 years. Actually, when I built the women network, there weren't many resources for women. They were just like Women 2.0, which was pretty much virtual. And I wanted to build a network to really support me in this learning path of starting to learn about the technology industry and starting my company. So it was like both ways, building a community and also creating the resources available to start this company in technology. I'm a true believer that there are not really any barriers to existing, only the ones that you impose to yourself. And actually, as I say, there are so many resources available and information that if you really get into, if you really have the drive and you know where you want to get into, the industry, where you want the sector, there are so many conferences, and you can spend hours if you want researching and learning about an industry. Actually, I'm very impressed about like how much you can learn just by going to conferences, listening to people in the field, looking at the trends where the industries are going, and basically, use that research to sound like not like an expert. And that I think is also a very important element, is that I think women are more open to ask for advice in comparison to men. So I think it's very useful when you leave that expert mind in your house, you know, or your egos in the house. And when you go out and you are a beginner, you are more open to receive insights and ask for questions, you know, because if you carry the expert flag, you are like kind of like, I know it all. Whatever you say, it's like, yeah, that's great, but I know better. You know what I mean? And when you go with a beginner mind, or I'm just about to start and I really want to learn, you are more open to receive these insights, you know, and ask the right questions. So I think it's like, one is the drive, of course, to really want to learn. Second is like use the resources available.
Including finding your own team that you mentioned in the call.
Oh yes, that's also very critical. What I've noticed even in the women network is that there are so many women that they don't have a technology background, like myself. But actually, I mean, at least we are here in the Bay Area. I don't know how it's in other states in US, but if you really have a good idea and a good strategy behind, because you know an idea is just an idea, it's all about execution. So and it's the same with investors, you know. It's like if you approach an investor, they wouldn't just, I mean, decline your offer just because you are women or you are Latin or you didn't have a technology background. It will be because your idea doesn't resonate, you don't have a clear strategy, and you don't have a good team, you know. So here it's not about nationalities, gender, and if you have a technology background or not, you know? But that's what I've seen in the sense that if you go with a clear idea of where you want to go, the clear strategy, that will also attract the right people to complement your skills, you know? And even if you don't have the technology expertise, I mean, even still to attract good engineers, you know, to build your team, you still have to sound to them like you know what you're doing, because there are so many opportunities available. That of course is an opportunity cost for them to go and work for you rather than go and build their own, you know? So it goes back to the point of like, know where you are going to, ask for the right questions, use the resources available. And once you have a clear idea of what you want to do, just define a clear strategy, and, you know, and spread that around, and people will come, you know, building the right team and hopefully finding the investment that you need to achieve it.
This is very interesting. We've concluded this first part of this conversation about the technical skills and how they are acquirable in every aspect of the innovation economy. Let's move to leadership now. Are those skills acquirable? Are you born a natural leader? Can you become a leader? Do you have? What does it take? What is holding Latinas back? Luz, let's start with you.
Well, from my own personal experience, I don't think I was born a leader. I think I developed into one. And I really believe that nothing is natural. You know, like even like in my own background, like with math, I mean, I was good at math because I worked hard at it, not because I was just a genius or anything like that. And that's the perception, right, that most of the public has. And I think the same is true about leadership. If we're given opportunities to practice it and to develop our own skills, then of course we're going to be good at it. And like in my own case, in starting my own organization, you know, I had to work on my own leadership skills, you know, for a few years. You know, public speaking, you know, everything that comes with being a leader. There were some areas where I thought I really need to work hard at this before I do this. And I knew I wanted to start something, and I didn't start it right away. It took me a few years. And those years, I focused on the skills that I needed to develop to be a good leader, right? Because I felt I owed it to the girls that I would be serving to be the best leader possible. And that's what keeps me motivated right now. But that means that I have to work hard and, you know, like I said, develop my leadership skills and ask for help and mentoring when I need it.
And Ileana, you are in this incredible leadership position right now. What is your experience with this topic?
No, absolutely, and I also want to talk a little bit to the girls from high school that are here, because it's very, very important. I mean, the main thing when I was in Puerto Rico, I remember there are so many things that happen around us, at home, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, especially if you live in a Latino community, everywhere in the States or in Latin America. You have to somehow block those things, right? Leadership starts by just saying, what do I want? How do I get out of this probably vicious cycle that is happening all around us. It happens to me, and it can happen to all of you. So start making your list. I remember when I was little, I knew I wanted to have a white microwave, I wanted to dress in white, and I wanted to have white couches. But the most important thing is the white part, right? If you were living in Puerto Rico at that age, all the couches were brown or very dark colors. There is no light there because it will get dirty. And then I will get all the hand-me-downs for all my 6 sisters because they were never. So you grew up with those things, and girls just to start writing these down. And yes, there's going to be stereotypes and things that you have to go after. And then when I came to the States, of course you're going to have stereotypes. Maybe you are too Latina for that job. Maybe you are too pretty for that job. Because there's a stereotype that if you're too pretty, then you're probably not smart. I actually have a high schooler that came to me and told me that, hey, I want to be an engineer, but my friend is telling me that then I will be a geek. I don't know about you, but I don't look like a geek. Let me just put it that way. So I brought her to Cisco, and I'm like, let me tell you how cool it is to be an engineer. So we spend a day and do that. So girls, don't be foolish by that. And don't be foolish if you're in high school, don't be foolish if you're here. When I go to Latin America, most of the time I am the only executive woman in a group of 20 men. You know, some women may probably feel intimidated by that. I loved it. Guess what? Because those men, nobody's gonna remember them. But I bet you, they are gonna remember me. They're going to remember my name, what I was wearing, what I said. And believe me, those stereotypes have gone to Mexico a lot and to others, and they think that I am just the wife of somebody that came. But that's okay. Let them fool you or fool them. But the important thing is when you get to that stage, when you get to that presentation, what get out of your mouth, that's what's important. Mm-hmm. And that's leadership. Break those stereotypes. Break them. Don't worry about it. Be yourself. Be an engineer with high heels. Be a fashion engineer. I don't care. Just be yourself.
And we're going to get to Sylvia in a minute because we're talking on other topics, but then she will be really running the show. I just want to ask the last question about leadership and what can companies do to create more leaders?
Mm-hmm. So right now for eBay, I mean, in terms of leadership, we have been going through a big journey. Even when I started, Meg Whitman, who used to be the CEO of eBay, and that was one of the reasons that I remember being excited. I'm like, oh my God, a women leader. I can just imagine all these programs in the company. I got in, and there were none. If anything, it was very disappointing. I mean, it was a very male-dominated environment. So it was a little bit as to like, And I remember, I mean, I ended up being in Europe for most of my early part of my career. So when I moved back, there still was a lot of interest, not a lot of push. Ultimately, we got executives behind the idea of start developing stronger women's network. And so we started and outside that part, we had a lot of small grassroots groups that were women engineers that were trying to get together, trying to actually create programs for themselves. And so we have put a lot of pressure, and it's been amazing. I mean, eBay has now a very focused women's initiative program that they try to, help us with a lot of talent development, different classes, just, keep developing our leadership skills. And what we're starting to do now is doing the outreach to other, to outside different groups, working with schools, working with a smaller organization. So it's a lot of it, I think, has been our own internal push. And that will be my ask a lot as well for the people attending here, not being afraid of asking in your companies, not being afraid of raising that up, to your managers about, what about, developing my leadership skills? What is it that I need to do? I think for us, it was just a lot of people wondering what is happening here to get it done. So that is the one piece, and I think we're getting very lucky that the statistics are coming out on just the overall numbers, how many women and diversity are out there, that it is starting to help the cause. I mean, companies don't want to look bad. So they're, feeling like, okay, we have to keep the development here. We have to put a little bit of money. And so we've done a great stride on women. Our next piece is diversity. And that's something that I'm getting very passionate about. And I think we have an opportunity on this summit. I mean, many of us leaders, to see how we can continue that momentum. I mean, we can create a very strong network, how we keep supporting each other going forward, how we support our younger generation.
Fantastic. Well, let's move to a topic. So we've talked to the developing technology skills and developing leadership skills, and how do we develop networks? And here we have the foremost expert in the topic of Latinos and networks. What is the importance of the Latino connection to bring more women into technical careers, entrepreneurship? What is the role of networks, et cetera?
Well, first I want to say that I'm very thrilled to be here at Google because Google is our founding partner for Manos Accelerator.
Oh.
I actually almost live here because I'm the Manos family. And I just want to say that for what we're doing at Manos is we are true pioneers. We are actually leveling the playing field for Latinos and Latinas who want to start their companies in high tech. And I'm very, very excited to see Latinas apply to come to Silicon Valley who are innovators and creators of the technologies that are going to change the world. And hopefully in the next 5 years, we will see a Latino or Latina be a CEO of a high-tech company here in Silicon Valley. And about the networking, let me focus on that. When I had my startup, I had 2 startups. And I remember you have to network yourself in the ecosystem here in Silicon Valley. You can't just stay in your own little world. You have to go out there and you have to meet as many people as possible. People who have money, people who have influence, people who could help you as a mentor, people who could coach you. It's not something that I could, it's a recipe. You got to go out there and you got to have so much passion in yourself and believe in yourself and have perseverance of the ups and downs that you're going to have when you start a business. And I think here in Silicon Valley is probably the best network in the world because we have so much talent in the Bay Area of smart people. And you just need to do that. You need to really go out there and believe in yourself and try to put a team that could help you. And the networking is amazing here. So it's not what you know, it's who you know.
But and what about the particular network that you're creating within Manos?
Yes.
Why is it Latino focused? What is the benefit? I mean, we're seeing it in this summit, but
Okay, so here at our Manos Accelerator, we're based in San Jose. We're regional to Silicon Valley. I was born and raised here, so I got to see this valley grow from a farming community to a high-tech community. My grandparents were from Mexico. They were farm workers, picking cherries and apricots and everything out there. And now I'm picking companies. So for us to be one of the partners of Google in the world that is focusing on Latino entrepreneurship, there's 73 partners around the world, and we're one of them. It's an honor to work with Google for entrepreneurs and to really promote and inspire Latinos to apply to our accelerator. And let me tell you what I think it's different between us and I think other accelerators. I don't know if you all heard about Y Combinator, 500 Startups, Techstars. I mean, there's so many out there. And I think for us is that we're like a familia. We go pick you up at the airport, make you menudo and pozole. We're like a family. We leave our egos outside. I think that's probably one thing that makes us very unique is that we are there to help each other. When I was in college and I was going through calculus and PChem and physics, and I was like, oh my God, all these hard courses. And I was part of SHIP, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and it was all these Latinos and Latinas were taking the same courses, calculus, everything else, and we were all helping each other. And we had a blast learning. And it made it easier to go through college because all of us were helping. Hey, did you get that equation? Or did you figure out that chemistry, whatever. And all of us helped each other. And that's what it is about Manos. is that when we're in there, we're going 100 miles an hour to get our companies out there and get them funded. And so all of us help. One startup can help the other startup make a video, or they all use their own unique strengths. And I think that's what's really unique about us. And I think when people come and apply, they would ask us, what's so different from you and then somebody else? We also have a network of mentors. It's not Latinos and only for Latinos. It's bringing Latinos and opening them to the best that Silicon Valley has to offer.
That makes sense. Absolutely. And maybe a question that both of you can help answer together. How do we encourage Latinos to be more entrepreneurial? You guys can discuss and tell me.
Yeah, well, actually, probably I will sound controversial because as we discussed before, even though I'm Latino by heart and I love being from Latin America, even though people don't think I am, I never carry the Latin flag or the women flag, approaching investors or people, I try to, even because of what you were saying, I mean, there are a lot of prejudices, if they look at you, that you behave, or you look a certain way, or do you dress a certain way. There are a lot of stereotypes to break, and it's difficult, But this is where your personality comes through, and again, strategy or your vision, and how you can transmit that you have the power to make things happen. My point is that personally, and I did that in Europe as well, there were not many resources that there are here, and there wasn't an entrepreneurial ecosystem. But I personally never tried to identify myself with a group. Let's say I'm a woman, or I would just go to the Latin network, or I agree with Sylvia in the sense that, we are Latin, and even though we have a lot of differences across South America and Latin America, there is something that is in common, that we are warm, we are very collaborative, and they have the family orientation, the family sense, and I think that is a big difference comparing to Anglo-American countries and Europeans. And probably this is where it comes the sense of helping and supporting, and even though there are some different, cultural differences, but my point is, I agree with you in the sense of Latinos trying to help each other. Now, based on your question, how to help more Latinas to become entrepreneurs, I wouldn't just say Latinas. Well, it's right. We are in a Latinas conference, so of course that will be appropriate. But my point is if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can do it. You have the power to do it. If you have the drive, just work hard. Find the resources, connect, network. Go out there and lose the fear of failure, just try. And again, leave, the egos at home, leave the fears, because I think fear is the highest barrier, but it's a personal barrier, it's not that the environment is imposing you to have fear. Here is the opposite. You see everything is happening, people are doing things, so it's why wouldn't I be able to do it, if there are the resources? It's your fear, overcoming your fears. And just believing in yourself that you can do it, and particularly if you have networks like Manos, that support Latinos and have these very familiar elements, that will be even more helpful.
I would say to encourage Latinas to be an entrepreneur, I think it's great, and if you're young, even better, because you have a longer runway to experience this. If you don't make it, you could work for a high-tech company. But I would start by maybe studying, doing some research. There's great resources at Stanford, a Center for Entrepreneurship. There's a great team over there of Latinos that are doing some great work. And there's stuff online at Stanford where you could study what does it take to be an entrepreneur. These are the things you're going to have. You need to have this before you even apply to maybe an accelerator or launch a business. It kind of educates you what you're going to see and what you need to have. And I think you start there, but if you have a great idea that's going to change the world and you think, wait, there's nobody out there like me, I think I'm going to do this, I would research maybe mentors that are Latinas that are in technology, reach out to them and say, hey, I'm going to launch this company. What do you think? Am I drinking Kool-Aid? Am I crazy? Just validate yourself and just get a team of people that you feel comfortable to help you. And I think that's where you start.
Can I just say something very quick? From a corporate perspective, corporate America needs you. I'm responsible for mobility services for Cisco, for desktop support, for e-apps, all the applications for Cisco on your iPhone. So we need ideas, right? So we will be looking to you to come with these companies and pitch us your idea and tell us how can my business be better. But in the other side, like you say, okay, maybe I don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore, I want to join a business. We need your ideas still. So don't think that one goes without the other. I think that if you have entrepreneurship, for me, it's out here. So if you have it, take advantage of it, and you will be successful anywhere you go.
Yes.
And I think before we go to the questions and answers, I want to just have a moment for each of you to say, either if it's talking to a young person or your younger self or whatever advice or wisdom words that you want to give out, that or something that you want to touch on for this topic before we break out into questions and answers, and sort of like your final recipe for advancing Latina innovation, which is the topic of this important discussion.
I think for me, what I would tell younger people or just anybody is to just follow your own interests and not I know entrepreneurship is big right now, but I think if you're really interested in a certain area, that could lead to entrepreneurship, right? And sometimes, at different ages, you don't know what you want to do, but just knowing that you have so many options. And I think if you really just pursue just something that you're interested in, if it's, just different fields, then it could lead to entrepreneurship.
So two things, and I know that I have a few friends here that probably know what I'm going to say, but for the younger self, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. So I think that in my career, I spend, and I have a 20-year career. Don't calculate my age. Yeah. But I think that I spent way too much time at the beginning of my career trying to be somebody else I wasn't, trying to fit a mold, trying to fit what this company wanted me to be. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. I'm very proud to be Latina. I'm very proud to bring all the Latina-ness in front every time, and that's what you have to bring. Now, on the second one for innovation, network. There's a very quick assignment, 3 ways that you can be a great networker. You have to know masters. Those are the very, very intelligent architect people that will know everything, masters. Second one, connectors. Connectors know a lot of people. So if they don't know what you're looking for, they will know somebody that will know somebody that will get you what you need. And the third one are the influencers. Those are the salespeople. Those are the people that can sell and can influence anybody to get you whatever you want. And that's money. So make sure that in your network list, you have masters, you have connectors, and you have influencers.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I think I would say, if you have a dream, always start for the dream. Reach for the moon. If you don't get to the moon, you get a star.
Get it to us. Yeah, that's
right. Find the right people to be around you. Your family is most important. Your health. Always stay healthy. Never lose of that sight, because if you're not healthy, you're not going to do anything. And also be true to yourself. I think if you really believe in yourself, no matter what happens, always stay true to yourself. Educate yourself as much as you can. Learn how to code. Pick up a book and code it yourself. That's the best advice I think I could give.
Okay. Yeah, I would say, actually, I was thinking about be true to yourself and who you really are. But that's also because women, we are mothers as well. And sometimes we have to overcome that. Not a barrier. I mean, of course, it's the most beautiful thing. But many people have these stereotypes that moms couldn't be hard workers as men in the corporate world or even in entrepreneurship. I was just telling my story yesterday to Andrea that many people thought in my first company when I got pregnant, that was the end of the company, you know, because I was all by myself and pregnant. So that was like, that's not possible. You won't be able to do it. So, and I always say, and again, be true to yourself and who you really are, in the sense that many people will come with judgments of things you are doing. And this is where your strength comes, of saying, I don't really care what you think about myself. I'm being honest to who I am. And in my case, I say, I love my son. Now I have 2 kids. I love my kids. But I know I have my passions and my drives. And I wouldn't be happy if I'm just a mom. And many people will criticize that, you know, that you don't spend probably as much time at home, or when they are newborns, that you are not 100 or 200% on the diapers. Maybe you are in the diapers 10% and 90% of your head is thinking about the meeting that you will have next week, you know? And this is being true to yourself. And many people will judge that, particularly women. From the other side, there is this war of what is best. And again, I think you have to be, be true to yourself and have the strength of, you know, fight for what you are aiming for, your dreams and your passions.
And I would just emphasize, I mean, don't be afraid to ask. I think sometimes we just, you know, self-limit that part. Keep asking. The worst you're gonna get is a no, and you know, you'll find somebody else. Don't be afraid to fail. That's the best way to learn. I mean, you know, you will get amazing, valuable lessons from that part. And just believing in yourself is huge, even though maybe sometimes your family might not even believe in you. Just make sure that you just have internally that you can achieve anything you want. I remember even as I kept climbing on my corporate career, I mean, my family would be like, yeah, your brother is doing this or that. And it was until I, you know, got invited to speak in Japan that my mom went like, okay, never mind. I think you're doing something. So it's, you know, don't be afraid. Actually, even if your family might not even support your times, just don't let that internal voice, that fire, you know, be extinguished. It's there. Let it fly. Let it show. Oh.
So we should open it for questions, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Giovanni. Thank you for being part of the panel. My question is relevant to young kids. I have a sister that's 15. I have a daughter that's 18 months. And one of my toughest and I'm the oldest of 5. One of my toughest challenges is helping them get motivated themselves. And not only for them, but also mentees that I have, is if they're not motivated, then, you know, nothing you say will make them do amazing things. So how do you help people get motivated? And not specifically young kids. Is that possible? And I know this is a very long discussion, but it talks about helping younger kids. So.
Would be good for that.
I mean, for me, of course, I believe it's possible. Right? I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, right? And I think, I mean, we start with younger girls, and we don't just hand out flyers like join our program. Yeah. One, they don't know what DIY is, making, engineering, tech, all these terms, join our entrepreneurship program. We would get no one to join, right? So all this jargon that we use doesn't work with younger kids. They don't think it's important. So we change our messaging. We give them a hands-on experience so that they choose to join, right? Instead of us saying this is important because tech entrepreneurship is the latest thing or is important for you. It's like we want them to choose it. And so I think when you're, like the messages that we do for adults are not the same that you would do for kids. They're not mini adults. Right? And if you think of that, then you have to change things that appeal to them. And sometimes they seem dumb to you as an adult, right? Or some of the reasons that sometimes girls leave our program, it's because, well, they don't like the girl that's in it. And, you know, it's just like middle school things, right? But that's important. Then we stop and we try to deal with those issues even though we're like, well, that's a dumb reason for not being in this program. But for them, it's the reason they're not in the program. So stop thinking of them as adults and saying, you know, this is important for your future and all those same messages that teachers and administrators do. Let them be interested and follow you. And I think that's what we try to do.
So I love a lot of what you shared, but I'm left with one big inquiry, the elephant in the room, I think, if you will, and that is the structural challenges which exist, which I think is exhibited by the recent numbers that we just saw as it relates to Google, Twitter, Yahoo, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of them. 3% at worst, 4% at best of Hispanics. That's not even looking at how that ranks across the company as a whole, so that's not even looking at executive level vis-a-vis entry level, and it's also not looking at Latino versus Latina. So huge opportunity, and I just would love to hear more conversation around that, and I think it's great that Google is supporting this. I think it's fantastic, but what about actually supporting changing those numbers so when we come back here next year, we're from 3% to the 30+% which exists in the state of California.
If I can quickly say a couple of words on that, actually, I was inquiring, internally because those numbers, are pretty shocking. And, when talking to our, talent acquisition, I mean, they're telling me it's challenging, actually, when they're looking out there to find candidates. So we have to go a little bit, like deep down, I mean, kind of encourage from early age, I mean, kind of getting to middle school, high school, how to create that interaction so that, students get, inspired that, okay, I can work in technology because, recruiters are trying to get there. And sometimes the limitation is that the pool is not there. I mean, it's like applicants are not even coming. So I think the connection for us is to go a little bit into reaching out to the younger, I mean, just to go into high school, middle school, and get that connection going. But totally.
I just want to, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to add, that there is no excuse for that, right? Yeah. I think that we are, corporate America is probably at fault in a lot of that. But I do believe that it needs to start with the ones that are also there. I'm actually the highest ranked Latina in IT in Cisco. That's not, it's great, thank you. But it's horrible, right? How can a company with 60,000 employees, almost 3,000 in the San Jose Bay Area, 10,000 IT, and I'm the only ranked Latina, right? So I think that we're doing now, there has to be programs that target the kids and target them and show them, and we all have those programs. I think, but again, as I told you before, I think that we sometimes run out of ideas. We have a lot of things to do, and I think that we need community, politicians, corporations to work together on that. And sometimes I think that it's easy to say, that's your problem, go and do it. But I think that we need help, to be honest.
I want to continue the conversation. I'm at Ketty E on Twitter, and I hope that companies engage in this conversation. Yeah. And I hear what you're talking about as it relates to the pipeline and beginning the pipeline. And I'm on the board for Yes We Code, and so I'm totally about that, and I agree with it and support it. However, we need change tomorrow. And as was said earlier, I mean, companies aren't just technology companies. You could have people who are in leadership, who are in diversity, who are in marketing, who are in communications. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are poaching companies that are C2B, B2B, like Procter & Gamble, some of the best marketing people. Why aren't they coming here? And Latinos.
You're absolutely right.
Oh. Yeah. They are here. I also want to add one thing, and that is a conference like this where we're having people from the White House, when we're having top people from corporate America, where we're having top entrepreneurs, where we're having academics. I mean, this is we're having people from the media, where this is exactly the type of discussion that was lacking, that needed to happen for this to be a tipping point. So I think the question is very pertinent, Katie. I don't know where you went, but but it's very pertinent, and I think it's a question that is going to make the whole country burn, and that's why we thought this panel was so damn important.
Thanks. Hi, Georgina Miranda. Thank you guys for being here. So this is more entrepreneurship question. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm raising capital for my startup. I am pure business background. I don't have a tech co-founder. And that has been an issue, a very frustrating one, because I have my whole technology piece sorted. I just don't have this other little person that's attached to me. So my conversation has become more and more candid with investors, because at first it was, who's your tech co-founder? And it turned into, So who's my male co-founder? I don't have one. And I don't need one. I have this awesome team in New York that's going to build everything for me. And guess what? It's great. They're going to do it for $15,000 versus this person I'd have to give half my company away to or pay them some ridiculous amount of money. So any advice on overcoming that challenge? Because I'm like, do I get this awesome person on my board as an advisor? If you guys have any ideas, I would love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we have those questions all the time. So many people, so many Latinas. I'm so proud of you, first of all. We do. That's why Manos is what we're doing. We want you to see me after, and we could talk on the side. Thank you. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of developers that are looking for people like you. Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will give you an insight as well. As I say, in the group also, many women are looking for the tech co-founders. And of course, the investors will ask not just for your co-founder, but not just because, you are saying you can outsource the development, and that's pretty easy. Yeah. But the team is something that you need to really make the company grow. Defining strategy. So if they are looking for your co-founder, it's because they know you won't be able in the long term to succeed by yourself. It's not that you won't be able, but matching the skills. Now, based on my experience, because as I say, there are a lot of people looking for tech co-founders, and there are as many as them. I've seen a few times that some people tend to look for not the developer co-founder, and I've seen many women making that mistake, that having the developer, making them the co-founder, later on didn't work out.
Yeah, of course.
Because they are just developers. Yep. It's not that I have something against them, but it's not the right person to help them, the company grow, It was just the developer. So probably what you need is finding someone with the business acumen and technology expertise, not necessarily being the person that will code the program to be your co-founder.
Right.
That's my take.
Thank you. And we'll chat after. Thanks so much.
Hi, ladies. My name is Brenda Sotelo, and I do social media for a living. And I wanted to know, from your personal experience working in these big companies, how much does social media influence and will continue to influence in the next decade or so marketing for Spanish bilingual speakers in this country?
Okay. So I will tell you that it is super important. We're talking about that. So the way that we talk to our clients is technology. We are all technology, right? Like we are technologists in this sense. Those 10, 15-year-olds are going to be my employees and my customers in 15 years. So social media, it is the most important thing. And also because the users want to work for Cisco in the same way that they are working in their home. So all those trends are coming to us, and it's going to be absolutely important. And yes, we cannot develop products if we don't have a diverse workforce. So because we're a global company, so we have to target our products and services to all of them. So answer your question is super important. Now, if you ask me, how we go from here to there, that's what we need, people like you that will help us, just help us understand how we go all the way to the other side.
Yeah, I was asking because I'm looking to start my own business in the next couple of years, but in the moment I'm getting the experience in the field, so I just want to make sure that I'm going into the right field.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. For us, we offer a platform. as Eve, we empower entrepreneurs to start, and social media can make you or break you at times. So
absolutely.
And with the bilingual piece, you're even tapping a much bigger market. It's not just limited here, but it's like once you start here, families can spread the word. Things are so interconnected. So. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Ana Luz. I'm an earthquake engineer by training, but I'm also a CEO of I'm creating a new type of renewable energy based out of getting energies from vibrations, so applying my knowledge in earthquake engineering to technology. Wow. And I'm asking... So I'm coming to you with... I had this idea since I was a freshman in undergrad a long time ago, but I didn't know I could be an entrepreneur until many years later. Actually, recently is when I started working officially on this a few months ago. And I think part of it is because, being an engineer, I wasn't really told that you could be an entrepreneur. I was more just like you just learn the technical stuff, you go work for a big company, and that's what you do. So I'm wondering what you guys do. Part of raising the numbers in entrepreneurial, I think, is It's just bringing awareness to the people that they can be entrepreneurs, just as I didn't know I could be an engineer until like I was well in college, and then I started doing it. So I didn't know I could be an entrepreneur until many years later, and I'm doing it now. So now, what are we doing? What are you, how are you ladies seeing that we can sort of raise the numbers by? Are you recruiting? Are you going to universities? Are you reaching out? That there's there's obviously a small percentage of Latinos in technology, in science, and STEM fields, but are you reaching out to them to bring up what entrepreneurship is? Because this is not part of this is not part of the curriculum at universities.
Maybe, can I answer that? Right now, Manos is partnering up with the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, the national organization in this country, which is, we're everywhere, all the universities, colleges, and we're partnering with them, and we're running entrepreneur tracks. So we're going to be going to different cities in the United States and talking to the engineers, students, and telling them about entrepreneurship, what they have to be prepared to do. So if they want to be an entrepreneur, what does it take to be one? And Ed Avila is here, our CEO, and he's going to be at the Detroit National Conference for SHIP. And then we're also going to be talking to Nishimba, the Society of Hispanic MBAs. So that's what we're going to be doing. Hopefully that would impact it.
And I want to add, because I work at a university, and for example, I am experiencing that in Denver right now, for example, CU Denver, not Boulder, but more where there's more Hispanics, they're really trying to get very into the community and entrepreneurship. So I think that you will see that universities internally understand that that's part of what motivates young people. And if they're going to attract young people, and most 30% of them are Latinos, to the universities, they have to really focus on entrepreneurship. And I think it's a very, very, very good question. I think our families, the Latino families, are more conservative in the career tracks, and we don't maybe have so many examples of entrepreneurs that have succeeded and made it big. And that may be a factor. You know, we don't know, we don't hear about that, and if we say we're entrepreneurs, they might think we're crazy.
I mean, yes, that's what they used to tell me, because I wanted to get energy from earthquakes, and they're like, "You're crazy."
We're all crazy. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, we've been getting past that. Thank you.
Crazy is good.
Hi, my name is Ileana Peralta. I'm a healthcare IT consultant for Capgemini, and I'm a mother of a 9-month-old baby. And I have 2 questions. How do you deal with attacks from a male-dominating field where they constantly question you? How do you manage being a mom and a professional? And when are you going to take time to tend to your child and not go to a conference like I was asked yesterday? And second question is, when I do lean in, sit at the table, and give a suggestion how to improve a process, why are you acting white? Yeah. 2 questions I have encountered in my company from teammates. How do you deal with that attack? And how do you somehow present a workshop where I can change that mentality?
And acting white, I just want to be very, very clear. What?
Yeah, can you repeat that?
Yeah, what is acting white?
I constantly ask, what do you mean I'm acting white? And they, you don't look like you're from the Bronx.
Okay.
Or you don't act like you're from the Bronx. It's a constant question, always.
So you've been more too aggressive, or you've been too passive?
Yeah.
Maybe you should change contact.
Actually, that's a good point.
I'm the only Latina in the healthcare practice, and my goal is to become VP and make it grow and kind of leave an impact. So I'm not leaving. I'm gonna make them change their trainer. So how do, besides HR, how is an approachable way, or how can I address that issue and kind of open up that discussion?
So I think we'll take this question, and then we'll have to end it here because we have limited time and we need to wrap this up. So sorry about that, but let's finish this question.
So I'm going to start with the mother thing. You know, I have a 14-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I actually started at Cisco when I was pregnant with the second one. Okay. And so I will say, you know, sometimes we are the worst at managing that perception at work. Because what I used to do, and I will tell you by personal experience, whenever I have to go to my son or my daughter at that point, when my daughter appointment, I will send an email and say, I'm going to go to the doctor to take my daughter. I'll be back in about 2 hours. And then when I have to leave early, I'm sorry, my daughter is sick. I have to go and tend my daughter. They don't need explanation, right? So I think that what you're creating and what I was creating was that being a mom, it was the utmost important thing in my life, and it is, but they don't need to know that, right? So and now what I do, I'm gonna be out at 10, I'll be back at 12. If you need me, call my cell phone, period. So I think that you have to start. So I think that for me, I need to start managing that. And one of the ways that I managed that, for sure, was changing companies too. You know, at one point, you know, you create this perception and maybe hard to change or not, but you find new opportunities and you move on. And I think on the second one, it's a little bit tough to answer, but I will say there's so much that you can fight. And I will agree with my panelists in here. Sometimes you don't need to change. It's the company that has to. And if the company's not ready to, you have to switch.
I think that when you find yourself in a position where you're always speaking up and you're fighting, that maybe it's time to start your own. That's how I knew, because I was working in different places and they're not doing it this way, and I was always that person. And then I realized, oh, then it's time for me, because if I have all of these ideas to start how girls should work in tech and, you know, be educated, then I should step up and lead it. So, I mean, sometimes I feel like it's a sign for you internally to, like, that means I'm supposed to go somewhere else and do something different. But I know that's not a solution for the current situation. But I in my own personal experience, that's how I have felt.
Let's talk more. I think that we're...
Okay, I think we're going to continue this incredible discussion. And I think also some of the things that came up, and I'm so sorry, but we need to close this, that some of the things that came up are policy prescriptions for the future. And so I encourage whoever is here from the White House maybe to talk to Angelica and to this group about the things that we came up with in our discussion. Might be helpful to you in your policies. But thank you so much. And please, everyone that had questions, come and talk to the panelists at lunch or during the break. And see you soon.
That was powerful. That was powerful. Thank you very much to the panel and Andrea for an amazing job and a very enlightening discussion. I want to mention that one of the things that's going to happen, that's going to occur from this panel, is that we're planning to write a white paper based on this conversation so that we can share this with all the different communities and voices and leaders and governments, so that we can have in writing some of the insightful things that we have discussed today. And we will continue to write this over the next few months, but I just want to let you know that sometimes just putting together a conference and going home is not enough. We need to take this conversation and amplify it out there for those who actually have a lot of power and can make those changes. So I encourage you also to do the same with your organizations. If you see people and they come to your organization to talk, you know, you have to amplify that information. Amplify it, write it down, blog about it, like Francis mentioned earlier. We have to put this out there, okay? Because we have amazing leaders.